Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
A bright summer Saturday in downtown Cincinnati and a near sellout crowd on hand at Great American Ballpark for Game 2 of 3 this weekend set between National League Central Division rivals. The Reds winners over the Cubs here last night, trying to make it back-to-back wins over the defending world champion Cubs. Hi again, everybody. I'm Tom Brenneman, joined momentarily by Jeff Brantley and Jim Day. Delighted to have you with us. Well, here we go again. Jackson Stephens gets a ball today. He is the 25th different player to put on a Reds uniform so far this season. The 13th starter, the 7th rookie starter, and 11th Reds player to make his major league debut this year. Here's his manager, Brian Price.
We're getting a young man off of our 40-man roster throwing the ball well currently, and as I mentioned before, it's a great experience. Come up and pitch, and we certainly anticipate seeing him as a part of our future, and this is a good introduction to the big leagues.
All right, Cowboy, great to have you back in the TV booth. Your major league debut, we've talked about it many, many times. If there's a checklist, so to speak, for this young man today pitching in this environment against the defending world champs, what would it be?
Well, the toughest part is handling the anxiety, number one. You're going to have a tremendous amount of adrenaline. Things are really going to be over the top. You've got the third deck on the stadium. That's a big key. If you can control that, then it'll enable you to control your slider. That's a big pitch for Jackson Stephens. The breaking ball, command in the strike zone. Make them hit it, not try to make them miss it. And probably the biggest thing of anything, don't read the names on the back of the jersey. Don't be intimidated. Just pitch. They don't know you. You don't know them. Go after them with your best stuff.
That's good stuff. We're going to check back in on the Cowboys checklist throughout the afternoon and hoping for good things today from young Mr. Jackson Stephens. When we come back, we'll say hello to Jim Day, and he'll tell us about a red-hot Red once again. That would be Adam Duvall. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
Hey guys, meteorologist Brandon Orr here from Local 12. Should be a decent day for the game today. We're not going to see too much in terms of rainfall. We had their storms move in last night around 10, 11 o'clock. Today we'll have the chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but much of the day should be dry. 84 degrees, still going to be very, very humid. It's going to feel warmer than that 84 when you factor in all the humidity. Down to around 80 degrees by the end of the game. Will be much drier to end out the weekend tomorrow. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Well, one thing the Reds hope continues to be hot, that would be Adam Duvall. When they've gotten good starting pitching, the offense has normally picked up the slack as well. And last night it was one swing of the bat off of Adam Duvall that provided enough. And he provided that energy. It's our IGS bringing the energy. Adam Duvall's homered in 3 of his last 4 games, including a 3-run job last night. 6-game hitting streak. And his numbers since June 18th over his last 12 appearances, 378, 7 doubles, a triple, 4 home runs, and 10 RBIs. Adam Duvall back in that lineup today as the Reds go after a series victory over the Cubs. Who else is in the lineup? We'll find out when we come back. And another Major League debut. Jackson Stephens, here's your chance. Cubs and Reds coming up next with Tom Brenneman and the Cowboy Jeff Brandt.
Produced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Hot, steamy Saturday in Cincinnati. A lot of Cub fans have made the journey to Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. But the story today, the journey of one Jackson Stephens, his major league debut today. And our Elk and Elk storyline, it's amazing, Cowboy. Some of the numbers, 25 pitchers now used by the Reds this season, all the rookies, and 11 players to make their major league debut, and we're just on July the 1st.
Well, I think what you do as an organization is you try to find out in this type of season who can pitch and who can't. Now, this doesn't talk about who can pitch in AAA or AA. What we're trying to find out is who can handle the heat up here. And this kid, his numbers are not way over the top in AAA, but his last 3 starts have been very good. He had an outstanding year last year in AA Pensacola. He's not a first-round pick. He's an 18th round pick out of Oxford, Alabama, a high school kid coming out early. He's a big kid, 6'2", 220. The thing about Jackson Stephens, he's not going to light up the radar gun. He doesn't look like your prototypical power pitcher, but what he does do is compete. And I think that will be his greatest asset today.
Let's take a look at the Cubs lineup under manager Joe Madden, brought to you by Menards. As you see the numbers, his last couple of starts at Louisville. Jay in left, Bryant back after injuring his ankle 2 days ago. He's at third. And Rizzo at first. Contreras behind the plate. Ian Happ, the former UC Bearcat, in right, and Addison Russell at short. Baez at second, Almora Jr. in center, and Eddie Butler is on the mound. So here we go. Reds came away 5-0 winners last night. The trio of Feldman, Lorenzen, and Peralta combining on a 3-hitter. First major league pitch by Jackson Stephens is in there. Strike one, says Angel Hernandez. And this game is underway, and the career of Jackson Stephens is underway. Cowboy, want to ask you from a repertoire standpoint, what should the Reds fans expect from Jackson Stephens?
Mostly sinking fastball. You see the delivery. It's a low 3/4 delivery, sinker, slider, an occasional changeup, but the breaking ball is probably his go-to pitch.
There it was right there, and it's fouled away on a 0-2 count, and it stays right there. Family has made the trip up from Alabama. You spent a lot of time in your childhood, Mr. Brantley, in Alabama.
Yes, I did. The first 20 years of my life.
You know, his first 2 years after being drafted, as Jeff mentioned, in the 18th round in 2012, really not much to write home about. That one fisted foul out of play. Are you kidding me? Right out of the gate. A near great play, but just short. But Stephens, the last 2 years is where he's really stepped up. In Daytona in 2015, an ERA at 2.9 in 26 starts, won 12 games. Then last year, an All-Star at Pensacola, an ERA at 3.3 in 26 starts. And he's given you 145 innings or more in each of the last 2 years.
Well, most high school kids coming out don't realize there are corners to the plate. They just throw it to the white part of the plate and try to get a strike and throw it as hard as they can. But you start to develop that as you get into professional baseball or college for some players. You start to learn, all right, these are the mechanics that I need to be able to get the ball to the sides of the plate. Inside, outside, changing quadrants and eye levels as you move the ball up.
Strikes out the very first batter he faces in the big leagues, John Jay. And that fastball had a little giddy up on it at 95 miles per hour.
Well, the key for me for Jackson Stephens, as I mentioned earlier, is challenging the hitters. You see his minor league numbers. He's got probably about the same amount of hits per innings pitched, maybe a little bit more, but he throws strikes and he makes you beat him. And that's what you want at this level.
The reigning National League MVP bats for the first time in this series. That's Chris Bryant. He had to leave Wednesday's game with a right ankle sprain. It looked very severe at the time. They were talking about him not returning until next week, and then there were whispers around the ballpark prior to the game last night that he would play this weekend, and here he is.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. When I saw him coming off the field in that ball game, they had 2 guys helping him off. He couldn't even put any weight on that foot.
In the air, right field, very hot day. The ball's going to travel today, but this one will be caught at the warning track by Schebler. And the first 2 retired. The Reds on defense today behind young Mr. Stephens, presented by Ford. Hamilton flanked by Duvall and Schebler. After returning from the DL last night, Zach Cozart gets a day off. Peraza to short. Jeanette back in the lineup, and Barnhart works the major league debut for Stephens. All right, so far so good. Cowboy, you talked extensively last night about how you would attack one Anthony Rizzo, and that's the area you talked about last night.
You just have to make him cognizant of the fact that you will come inside, that you're not intimidated. You'll throw the breaking ball and the fastball in there. because that makes Rizzo speed up. That way, if you do make a mistake out over the plate, he doesn't hit it into the river.
Stevens missing on the first 2 pitches with fastballs up and in. Rizzo 18 home runs, 50 runs batted in. Team leader in both of those categories. That's on the inside corner, a strike.
Now see, that pitch there started in off the plate and came all the way back to the plate. That's a tough pitch for Rizzo to commit to when it starts as a ball. Changeup. Well, Rizzo has not seen a breaking ball in this at bat. Maybe he'll see one now, down and in.
Look at him choking up on the bat like Joey Votto does. And just shoots one into center field. A 2-out single by Rizzo. Made a hard turn at first. He'll get back to the bag, so he's a 2-out base runner.
It appeared that ball started in, but watch where the ball ends up. Back out over the middle of the plate and elevated.
Joey saying you're taking it right out of my bag of tricks on that 2-strike pitch.
Hey, that's my thing.
Rizzo says, I'll take it. I know a good idea when I steal one. So here's Contreras. He started the game, you may remember, last night out in left field. He is their regular catcher. And back behind the plate, strike 1 to Wilson Contreras. 0 for 3, drew a walk in the opener. The batting average at .214.9, 9 home runs, 38 runs batted in. See what he's done against the Reds. Very, very good numbers. This guy's become a good player in a short amount of time. Angel Hernandez calling the balls and strikes. John Tumpane works at first. Chad Whitson at second. The crew chief is Ted Barrett down at third. A lot of high fastballs challenging these Cub hitters, and they're swinging at them in the early going.
Well, you're fine changing eye levels up and down, but if you just stay up, they hit it out. If you're going to go up, then you got to come back down. You've got to alternate that pattern.
1-2. Let's see if he goes to the breaking ball here. Nope. Swing and a miss on a fastball at 94, and what a nice opening stanza for Jackson Stevens. Allows a hit, no runs, punches out 2. That's a way to start your career. A hit. No runs. Let's take a look at the Reds starting lineup presented by Menards. Look at those socks, Billy Hamilton. The shoes, Billy Hamilton. He's leading off and playing center field. That'd be a good look for you, Cowboy.
It's a July 4th look. I like it.
Jeanette at second, Votto at first, Duvall, Suarez, Schebler in the middle, Peraza, Barnhart, Stevens, the latter third against right-hander Eddie Butler. He was fighting for a spot in the Cubs rotation back in spring training, didn't get it. But since being brought into the rotation, now start number 10 is throwing the ball well, coming off a very good outing. Short one, albeit 5 innings, but 5 shutout innings against the Nationals.
And Butler's going to throw a lot of pitches. He's going to be around the strike zone. You know the pitch count is going to get elevated. He had one ball game earlier this year. He threw 40 pitches in the first inning.
So Billy Hamilton to lead things off. And he takes up for a ball 1. Reds have seen Eddie Butler through the years with Colorado. That's a team he originally made it to the major leagues with. First round pick, supplemental pick, 46th overall. And you see in 3 career starts against the Reds, Cincinnati has had its way. But again, that was pitching for Colorado as a very young man and mile high altitude and all that kind of thing. You'd love to think the Reds could do it again. We'll see. And that's a base hit by Hamilton to begin the bottom of the first inning. So here we go.
Well, Butler's last start in this ballpark, pitched 6 innings, but he gave up 9 of those. 9 hits, 2 of them left the ballpark. See if Billy can make him a little uncomfortable here.
Hamilton 33 stolen bases on the year. He's only been thrown out 5 times.
And Contreras has a cannon. We saw it in left field yesterday, and we'll see it behind the plate today, and he gets rid of it, and I mean right now.
And they pick him off. That's not the way to get it started. That is a second base running snafu in each of the last 2 games now by Hamilton.
Quite the quick move by Eddie Butler. And you notice as he throws to first, instead of taking his arm or his hand down by the belt, he snaps it up by the ear. A quicker throw to first base, almost like a catcher's throw, shortening the time that it makes you take to get the ball to the first baseman Rizzo.
That move is clearly a weapon, and right from the get-go displaying that arsenal by picking off the guy who's considered to be the best base stealer in either league. Now Jeanette, and he gets hit with a pitch. Boy, should be first and second at the minimum here. Nobody out. We'll see what happens. Take a look at Chicago defensively behind Butler. Bryant back in the lineup at third. Jay starts in left. Happ moves into right. Baez started at third last night. Finished the game at second. He'll start there tonight. And Contreras from left field back to his normal position. Cubs have players that'll play anywhere and everywhere, and the reigning MVP is one of them. Votto looks at a strike. Joey 2 of 4 in the game last night, had a pair of doubles and a pair of runs scored along with a stolen base, just having a marvelous year again. The argument could be made he's having the best start to a season in his extraordinary major league career. 1-1.
Well, right now he's ahead of the pace that he was in when he won the MVP. He hit 364 in June with 9 home runs.
You know, you go back to last year, Votto struck out 78 times in the first 79 games of last year. Ever since then, which basically is a full season at 162 games, he struck out only 79 times. Again, 78 in 79 games when he had that terrible start last year. in a full season's worth of games. Only one more than in the first 3 months.
Yeah, we all talked about last year in the second half. Boy, what a year Votto could have if he had 2 halves like that. He's on his way.
There you see where he was this time a year ago, 14 and 40. As opposed to 23 and 57. And of course getting on base a lot more, much better batting average.
And you hear people talk all the time, especially young kids. Well, if I choke up, it takes away from my power. Not this guy.
And not Barry Bonds.
Thank you.
On the inside corner.
Good pitch.
Second out of the inning.
Started this one in off the plate. You could see a little bit of hesitation in that front hip by Votto. The ball looked like it was going to come in right at the pants leg. Votto just started to move back, and then the ball runs back over the inside corner. That's your ideal start to that pitch. You want to make it look like a ball and then bring it back to the corner. Same thing with a slider that starts off the plate. You bring it to the plate, or start it on the plate where it looks like a strike and then get it off.
Brian Price made a serious pitch after the game last night for Adam Duvall being a part of the National League All-Star team. And when you consider that he ranks 8th in home runs, 7th in RBIs, 7th in total bases, 4th in doubles, 8th in slugging percentage, and the 3rd most extra base hits in the league, there certainly is evidence that he's on to something. Has 11 extra base hits, in fact, in just his last 10 games. Had the big home run here last night.
Well, if you start ranking left fielders, which is the position Duvall plays, is there anybody better?
No. But we know that's not how they choose it
I
to the All-Star game.
I understand.
But you're right, 100% on the money. 1-2.
And I'm talking about the entire game of Adam Duvall. He's a slugger with a gold glove. I mean, that's how he plays. He doesn't have a gold glove, but that's how he plays in left field.
Brian bobbles, cuts it loose, and still in time to get Duvall. That's a nice play made by there. All-star third baseman Bryant. No score at the end of one. Action begins in the T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN July the 10th at 8 o'clock Eastern. Then, of course, the 88th Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 11th on Fox. Coverage begins at 7:30. How good was Scott Feldman last night?
About as good, actually the best I've seen him. 5 2/3 innings actually of scoreless baseball, and if not for an error by Jose Peraza, may have been even better than that. But the breaking ball for Feldman was the key last night. He had it not only from that low 3/4 arm slot, but also over the top.
That ball hooked down the line into the corner off the bat of Ian Happ. And the former UC Bearcat will cruise in with a double to begin the Chicago's second inning.
Well, the swing looks so easy from Ian Happ, and the ball just jumps off of his bat.
So now the batter, the shortstop, Addison Russell. Breaking ball away. Second hit for Chicago against Stevens, and this is his major league debut. Numbers way down in every category for Addison Russell so far this year. He's had to deal with some off the field issues, which are not good, but the team continues to stand behind him, and their batting average in the 220s. The batting average was low last year, but he had monster numbers in terms of home runs and runs batted in. That has not been the story so far this year.
Yeah, Russell was a big part of this club as far as their clutch, high leverage hitting.
Yep.
He hit home runs when they mattered. He drove in runs when they mattered.
And again, it's something we talked about last night for the Cubs. They got this guy in a trade. He was a #1 pick, the 11th overall by the Oakland A's in 2012. The Cubs got him for Jeff Samardzija. Not only did they, bring him in, they brought in Dan Straley. They gave up Samardzija and pitcher Jason Hamill, and then they turned right back around and brought Hamill back as a free agent at the end of that year. I mean, they have really made just some great trades. Eddie Butler, trade. Mike Montgomery threw the ball last night, trade. Addison Russell, Kyle Hendricks could have won a Cy Young Award, trade. How about in the bullpen? Carl Edwards, Justin Grimm, Pedro Strop, Wade Davis.
Strop and Arrieta came over in a trade, right?
Yep, Arrieta came over. Anthony Rizzo. I mean, those are really, really good players and great trades. Everybody talks so much about their draft. Their draft's been good. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. They drafted Baez, good pick. Bryant, good pick. The jury is out, certainly, on Schwarber, Candelario, Felix Pena. I mean, you don't know these guys. Wilson Contreras was a nice pick. Two and two the count on Russell. In the air, can Hamilton get to it? No. They're on the corners with nobody out.
Well, he fooled Russell with the pitch, but the ball was up enough where Russell could catch it off the end of the bat and just didn't hit it hard enough for Hamilton to be able to cover the ground to get to it. If that ball is down in the strike zone, you get a weak ground ball to shortstop.
All right, so work to do now for Jackson Stevens here in the second. A double, a single, first and third, none out. Javier Baez, a batter.
Well, even if you get a ground ball here, you've got to turn it clean. Baez with pretty good speed at the plate.
0-1 on Javier Baez, first and third and none out. And that one sails high. Breaking ball that just appeared to slip right out of his fingertips.
This goes back to handling that adrenaline in your first major league appearance, first major league start. You get a couple of runners on, things are not quite as comfortable as they were back in the first inning. Got to find that release point.
And where some of these young Reds pitchers have faltered is that old cliche about limiting the damage. I mean, look, first and third, nobody out. There's a real good chance the Cubs are scoring a run in the inning. But you don't want it to turn into 3, 4, 5 or more.
You just forget about the guy at third and you try to get a double play ball. That's what you're after.
With Joe Madden, you never know. In his bag of tricks, he's always up to something, and that might have something to do with Stevens throwing over to first a couple of times. Even though Russell is not a big base stealing threat, only 2 of them all year long. Big swing and a miss. Boy, Baez trying to hit that one to Goshen.
Well, at least he's not falling down now as he takes this kind of swing. There were times where Baez would take that swing, his feet would actually come up off the ground and his body was falling over home plate.
Two balls and 2 strikes on Baez, and got him swinging for the first out of the inning. All right, so a third of the way home, and the number 8 hitter coming up.
Curveball starts up and ends up well out of the strike zone. That's a hitter that wants to swing the bat no matter what, because that ball never started in the strike zone, never got near the strike zone. But Baez says, I want to hit it anyway.
Now Almora Jr., a .264 batter, 15 runs batted in. Runners on the corners, 1 out. Strike 1.
Last 2 batters, that first pitch fastball right on the outside corner, right down around the kneecaps. Almora's numbers a little deceptive. He hits left-handers much better than right-handers. Only a .220 average coming into today against right-handed pitching. And boy, would you love to have a ground ball up the middle here.
So 0-2, look out down there. It's right behind the Reds dugout, and that's one of the reasons we saw, you know, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Washington Nationals put up the screen all the way to the end of each dugout.
I think sooner or later that's coming everywhere.
Got hit in the shoulder with that thing.
Sooner or later that's coming everywhere.
0-2 the count now on Almora Jr. And Stevens a long pause. Oh boy, in and out of the mid of Barnhart, thought he had him. Still 0-2.
And that should tell you what Almora is thinking in this at bat. Watch where this pitch is. Well out of the strike zone. Almora still trying to make contact to try to get that run home from third. You get shut out last night, did the Cubs. They're trying to do anything they can to get on the board. Use that to your advantage if you're on the mound.
Swing and a miss. Throw down to second. Are you kidding me? How about Tyler Jackson Stevens? Strike him out, throw him out, double play to end the inning. And he says so much for that business about getting a single run.
Live. Per usual, we will look back on the previous month and give you the top moments of June. 5 of them. Will start with number 5. Reds defense has been the best in the league, and you got to have a good guy to go get the ball. You've got to have a better relay throw, and you've got to have a catcher at the back end of a 9-4-2 relay, which happened on the 25th. That is just beautiful stuff against the Washington Nationals, and a great throw to the plate by Scooter Gennett. Top 4 moments coming up.
All right, Jim Day, thank you very, very much. We've seen Gennett do that a couple of times here in the month of June, in fact, make perfect relay throws. But we're going to go back here in a second to that throw made a moment ago by Tucker Barnhart.
That was something else.
Here's Suarez, and a base hit into center field to lead off the Cincinnati second inning. How about that? Strike him out, throw him out, double play, and the Cubs come up empty in the second inning.
It's one of the most difficult plays for a catcher. You see the curveball. Watch the batter. The bat is coming across. You get blinded by the helmet, and Barnhart still makes this throw. Folks, that's right on the money. Barnhart has now thrown out 16 of 28 would-be base stealers. But you also have to give credit back to Jackson Stephens, getting the ball to the plate with giving your catcher some time. A young pitcher, you've got a crucial situation. Hey, these other guys play in the big leagues too. Give them a chance to help you.
Schebler started to, and they appealed to Ted Barrett, who said he went around. Strike 1 to Scott Schebler. No score. We're in the bottom of the second inning. What an incredible piece of pitching turned in by Jackson Stephens, and this is major league debut to have first and third and nobody out. And he comes up with back-to-back strikeouts, and the second one a double play on the attempted stolen base by Addison Russell.
And that wasn't a slider. That was an over-the-top hook that was down in the dirt by the time Barnhart caught it. Excellent throw. And a confidence builder for the kid on the mound.
Pull to the right side. Rizzo. Perfect throw. Double play. That's why you love having that left-handed throwing first baseman.
Well, he just rolls right into the ground ball, does Rizzo, and his momentum takes him inside the line of the base runner, and being left-handed, he's already inside the base runner. You don't have to throw over the top of the base runner. You see the shortstop coming to the bag. If you're right-handed, you've not only got to pivot, but as soon as you start to throw, after you pivot, you're throwing right into the base runner.
So 2 down, bases empty for the number 7 hitter, Jose Peraza. Peraza had 2 hits in the game last night, 2 infield hits, one of them a bunt hit. That's a nice play made by Butler on the mound to throw out the speedy Peraza.
And a good idea by Peraza to try to make Bryant come and get that with the bad ankle. But Butler, as you said, nice play.
End of 2. No score in Cincinnati.
and Reds. Take it to our big story last night. You know, players get heated in the moment, and so do managers. Dave Roberts of the Dodgers, Andy Green of the Padres, accusing one another of stealing signs. And Dave Roberts none too pleased about this. In fact, the bench is cleared in this one. And they said that stories were that they spat on each other and all kinds of nasty stuff. So even the managers can get into it in the heat of the moment.
Well, you don't see that very often, that's for sure. And normally, two pretty mild-mannered guys here in Roberts and Andy Green. Andy, of course, grew up just down the road in Lexington, Kentucky.
But intense players.
Yes.
And sometimes in those situations, that game-playing intensity comes back in a snap of the fingers.
Fly ball into right. That'll be handled by Schebler off the bat of Butler, and that's out number 1. And this the major league debut of Jackson Stevens. T-Mobile unlimited baseball break. Some other news around baseball. We talked about all the home runs in June, the most of any month in the history of Major League Baseball, and nearly a no-no last night until the 9th.
Maybe last night was the night. Feldman had a no-hitter for 5 2/3 here.
Here's John Jay. He led off the game by striking out against Stevens. Players from both teams donning the stars and stripes as we kick off this July 4th Independence Day weekend. Certainly hope everybody stays safe, smart, healthy. We understand after the 4th of July, they're going to wear these uniforms through the holiday next week. That the socks, the uniforms, so on and so forth, will be available for auction. Probably check those out at Reds.com. Got out of play. Lot of day games. Well, those teams in the American League, I don't know what it is. We brought this up a couple of weeks ago, but seemingly forever, American League teams on Saturdays start a lot of games very early. Noon, 1 o'clock. I mean, finals already in Toronto and in Detroit, 7th inning in Chicago, 6th inning in Kansas City. Heck, they're starting early out west. That's a 1 o'clock game out there in Oakland. In the air, deep left right field, and that one will reach the seats. Home run, John Jay.
Well, he fooled Jay early in the at-bat with a couple of changeups. And after 3 more, Jay seemed to have it timed.
That is the first home run this season by John Jay.
Changeup up and out over. And with 2 strikes, you're already trying to wait an extra split second to guard against the breaking ball, and he runs right into that high changeup.
Bryant flied out to the warning track in right field his first time up. 2-0 count here. Chase that fastball up in the strike zone.
Well, the fastball up and into Bryant will get a swing and miss. The changeup on the outside part of the plate will get a swing and miss. But those breaking balls that you spin and they stay on the plate, oh, look out.
Driven into center field, hit hard, but Hamilton is there. 2 out. Beautiful day. It is hot out there now. Sticky, as predicted, but expecting sunshine throughout the day, and it's supposed to be a beautiful day here tomorrow, the finale of this series and the conclusion of the homestand, the final homestand before the All-Star break for the Reds. They will play their final 7 games out west, 4 in Denver beginning on Monday night, and then 3 in the Grand Canyon state of Arizona Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're going through their first real heat wave of the summer in the western part of America. It's supposed to be very, very warm in Denver, while the Reds are there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Well, if I remember correctly, in Denver, when it's hot, the baseball flies like a golf ball.
I think you're right.
Better keep it down.
And the Rockies are another one of those teams that is, making the move. The Diamondbacks were the first ones to do it. The Indians had joined the club, and Colorado joining the club, where they're starting home games during the week at 6 o'clock at night. I think everybody involved directly in the game likes that start time, and especially fans. There's ball 4 to Rizzo. I mean, with the length of play that we're seeing around baseball now, you start a game at 7:10. You're lucky to get home before 11 o'clock. You start a game at 6:10. That's a big difference. You're talking about kids going to bed right now. Obviously, they're out for the summer, but people getting up to go to work the next day. I think you'll see more and more of that moving forward around baseball.
I would agree with that.
First walk issued in the major league career of Jackson Stevens. Now he'll face Contreras, whom he struck out ending the first inning. Looks like a pretty nice setup. Better bring the sunscreen along.
You got that right. It'll be sunny all day right there. The entire game.
All day long. Is 4:10 start Eastern time. 1-1 on Contreras. Now, what have you liked so far here from Stevens?
I like the fact that he's challenging the hitters, that he's going after them with all of his pitches. He's been able to throw both the slider, the curveball, the changeup, fastball.
That ball is killed into left center field, and it's 3-0 Chicago.
Left that one in the middle. You can see Barnhart set away. The fastball runs right back to the bullseye, right down Broadway.
Breaking ball in there, a strike to Ian Happ. So a solo home run in the inning by Jay. The 2-out walk to Rizzo gives Contreras a chance to bat, and he loses one to deep left center. 3-0. Runs on 5 hits so far, surrendered by Stevens. He struck out 4, walked 1. And now that pitch count beginning to really climb for Stevens here after lengthy at bats in this 3rd inning. The Reds drafted 2 spots behind where Happ was chosen. As you see the numbers so far, 29th pitch coming up in this 3rd inning for Stevens. And that's all for Happ. 5 strikeouts. Cubs get 3 on a pair of home runs. Reds coming up trailing 3-0.
Bakery get half-price tickets. Reds and Cubs. Kids 14 and younger get a Zach Cozart Fat Hat thanks to College Advantage. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Moment number 4 of the month of June. Peter Edward Rose, a long time in the making. His statue unveiling, and I got to tell you what, it's no slight on the other statues outside of Great American Ballpark, but this one of Pete Rose with the head first slide, a statue marvel, if you will. What a moment. His number's now retired. He's in the Reds Hall of Fame and a statue to boot.
And I'm sure that the number 1 moment is of great mystery to many. I mean, 3-2 we'll wait on, but I don't think there's a whole lot of debate as to what's going to be number 1. But knowing Jim Day, you never know. Jim, are you the only person who votes on this, in what order they show up?
Usually it's a group effort, but in this particular month it was pretty easy, so I was the single voter. Yes. Okay.
Yes. 1-2 on Tucker. Pulled foul. Reds trail 3-0. Barnhart, Stevens, Hamilton due up here in the 3rd. in the air right field. That's easy for Happ. And that's the way it starts here in the Cincinnati third inning.
Tough to lift that breaking ball that is down just right at the kneecaps, or maybe even breaking lower than that. You spin it up there, you start it high at the chest, and it breaks down towards the knees. Those are the ones that get hit a long way. And even though Barnhart hit that one right on the screws, it's just tough to get it up.
Family and friends of Jackson Stephens wanting to capture every moment, whether it be on the mound or at the plate here in his major league debut. Butler the underhand flip for the second out. A big play in this ball game. We always do the woulda, coulda, shoulda. You look back, of course, we'll never know the answer. But after Hamilton led off the game in the bottom of the first inning, he was immediately, before a pitch was thrown to Scooter Gennett, was picked off. Gennett wound up getting hit by a pitch. Who knows? 2 on, nobody out. It's a lot different than a runner at first and 1 out. Certainly your chances of scoring are increased dramatically under the prior scenario.
And not just the scoring, but the ability to drive the pitch count up of Eddie Butler right out of the gate.
This will do it for the Reds in the third. End of 3 at Great American Ballpark. Cubs 3, Reds nothing. By the Queen of Mississippi along the mighty Ohio. That looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Those are becoming very popular again, those river cruises, not just the big cruises out on the ocean, but river cruises.
I think I've seen that one docked in Vicksburg every once in a while.
I bet. I'm surprised, Cowboy, that maybe you don't spend some time on the open seas as a Mississippi resident by perhaps putting on the sailor's cap and being the captain,
Not
the
happening.
king of Mississippi.
Not happening.
Then we could just call you the good captain.
You could. Sailing is not my cup of tea.
Swing and a miss. Nice breaking ball there by Jackson Stevens. This young man making his major league debuts, allowed 3 runs and 5 hits, a couple of home runs.
Start the ball in the zone right above the catcher's mask, and then you get it out. Well, you can really see Russell choked up on the bat after getting 2 strikes. Trying to do whatever he can to put the ball in play.
Well, he got fooled his last time up, but he dunked one into center field for a base hit. He was really fooled by that one, way out in front, and a one-hopper right down to Suarez, 1 out. Well, you know the drill. 30 minutes before the start of every game on Fox Sports Ohio, we bring you Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And tomorrow we'll kick things off with Reds Live at 12:30. Our game coverage at 1. I don't know if that's the umbrella that Jim Day was underneath in Washington, D.C. last week.
Quite colorful.
Jim's going to be in the shade here in about 10 or 15 minutes today, and he'll be thankful for that down near the Reds dugout.
All right. You got that right.
Pulled foul. But Denver could be a little bit different ball game, so we might have to call up Washington, D.C. and have them send that bad boy for you. Of course, front gate's right here in Cincinnati. That's, you know, the home base of front gate is right here in the Queen City, so maybe they can have a traveling umbrella for Jim Day.
That umbrella in D.C. was a one and done.
Back-to-back strikeouts. Getting again Baez on that high fastball, and that's 6 strikeouts for Stevens. He could use a quick inning here.
Well, you get quick innings by throwing the ball over the plate. You get long innings by going 3-2 on everybody that steps to the plate.
And that's why, of all those young pitchers that the Reds have brought up here, you know, whether it was 1 start for, you know, Sal Romano, or whether it was multiple starts for Cody Reed or Robert Stevenson over the last couple of years. I mean, those guys were lucky to be in the 4th inning of games where they weren't knocking on the door of 100 pitches in a game. See if Stevenson can take care of Almora Jr. for his first perfect inning. 1-2. You can just sit up here. If you know you're blessed enough to have the job we have, you can just sit right here, not even look at the scoreboard, and just watch this guy pitch in the way he carries himself on the mound, that he believes he belongs here.
Right.
I mean, his numbers in AAA may not be all that great, but this guy is not afraid. That is a foul ball.
And it's not just the fear factor. It's about not trying to come to the big leagues in this type of environment. I mean, let's face it, it's packed today. In this environment, and trying to throw the ball through the backstop. That's not pitching. That's just throwing.
One ball and 2 strikes again on Almora Jr. And that one down the line, and it's a foul ball. Almora's going to be worn out. He's run from home to first each of the last 2 swings, full effort. Thinking maybe he had a double on a bloop and a double down the line.
Well, maybe that'll show up in maybe a ball that's in the right or left center field gaps later in the ball game, and that one little step or 6 inches might result in a base hit rather than a catch.
He's not our age, Cowboy.
Well, true. Maybe not. He's a big leaguer.
And young. How about that? A 1-2-3-4 for Stevens. 7 strikeouts. Fooling Almora on the breaking ball. All right, Jeanette Votto Duvall coming up. Reds down 3.
For as low as $12, first 20,000 get a Billy Hamilton bobblehead thanks to Dynegy Energy Services. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Countdown the moments of June. Moment number 3 happened just the other night. Not often you see a strike him out, throw him out to end the game, but that's exactly what happened against the Brewers. Tucker Barnhart, Scooter Gennett teaming up for a winning moment for the Reds, and Tucker already has a strike him out, throw him out today. So he's been making a habit of it. Not often you see it at the end of the game.
Tell you, that was a really exciting play. I think on both ends. I thought it was a great call by Craig Counsell. If his base runner stops like he's supposed to, they steal that tying run. There's no doubt about it. But the young man Arcia, you know, first full year in the big leagues, he kept right on going and made the tag.
He ran right into the tag.
Yeah.
That's just a brain cramp from a base runner.
And for the Reds, you can't execute it any better. Let's see if the Reds offense now can get something going against Eddie Butler. He's only allowed 2 hits through the first 3 innings, and the Cubs have a 3-0 lead. Look at that little angel.
That's a cool looking hat. How about that hat? That's a cool looking hat.
Very nice. Yep. Give me that thing. Oh man, she's got her buddy there with her.
Got a ring.
I remember those days like they were yesterday. Our daughter today, her daddy's girl, Ella Mae Brenneman, turning 14 years old today.
Today, huh?
Today, and I remember her looking just like that little one. Boy, how time flies. Precious every moment we are given with those little ones.
Amen.
Amen is right. Thank God for it. So happy birthday, Ella Mae. Hope you're having a great day. We had a big time of it early this morning and hopefully later tonight. There's ball 4 to Gennett. That's a nice start for the Reds here in the 4th inning. Look at those numbers for Votto when you put people on base. It's really been a story his entire career, though. He has always been a money hitter. Leadoff man aboard. Reds down 3. Fighting off a fastball out of play. 1-1 to Votto. Votto called out on strikes his first time up. That comebacker that looks like it's going to be a ball off the inside corner and then moves back towards the plate. Votto was called out and he knew it.
I guarantee you he won't forget it either.
A perfectly executed pitch by Butler.
Oh, he missed one he liked. You can see a little frustration in Votto there. That was up and out over. That's the danger pitch right there. You set up inside. You want it to start as a ball and run back to the inside corner. That one was up and out over the plate. And Votto just got underneath it just a bit.
Votto more than capable of hitting one out there. Chokes way up here with 2 strikes. And a bouncing ball into right field to hit with Jeanette on the run. So the Reds have him at first and third with nobody out.
The Cubs are dead set on pitching Votto inside. That's almost the pitch that Votto was called out on in his first at bat. This time he just drops the head right to it and shoots it right by Anthony Rizzo. Votto's one of those types of hitters. I think at the end of the ball game he can go back and tell you every single pitch, where it was and why it was there and what he thought about it as the pitch came.
All right, so now a big scoring chance for the Reds here. First and third, none out. Down the left field line, but hooking foul.
Now that's that swing by Adam Duvall where it looks like he just flicks his wrist. It's a breaking ball. Didn't even take a full swing. The bat didn't even come around to the back shoulder. He just flipped his wrist and it was a bullet home run distance, but just foul.
Brewers have jumped all over the Marlins early on in that one. Milwaukee in the third inning with a 7-3 lead. Brewers have won 2 in a row. A 2-game lead over the Cubs, 3.5 over St. Louis, 5 better than the Pirates, and the Reds just 7.5 out. When you think of all the hype around the Cubs, I mean, the Reds are only 5.5 games behind Chicago for second place in the division.
And there's really been no separation in this division at all.
A lot of other divisions, you're 11 games over 500. You are DUN. Done. But not in the NL Central. 2 on, none out. 2-1 on Duvall. Ooh, he had a pitch to hit and fouled it back.
This baby's right down Broadway. Sometimes your eyes light up a little bit too big and that front shoulder starts to leak a bit.
Duvall, the co-leader on the Reds with 57 batted in, trying to change that now. Off the outside corner, 3-2.
Big pitch right here for both clubs. You make a mistake, it's tied.
Drilled into left center field. This baby will find the gap. Up against the wall. Votto on his way to third. They'll hold him there. RBI double by Duvall, and the Reds are on the board. 3-1 game. And he is now the team leader with 58 runs batted in.
Now we saw the fastball down the middle earlier that Duvall swings through. This one, well, he didn't miss it. It's now 23 doubles for Adam Duvall.
That's most on the team.
Start looking at his power numbers, and we talked about him being third in the National League in extra base hits combined. And he's getting better. It's not like he just got it real early in the season. He started off a little shaky. He's swinging the bat.
Chris Bosio, the very slow walk to the mound. In fact, his time has already expired out there, and the umpire is just getting to the mound, Angel Hernandez, to have him break it up. But they're not breaking it up. Bosio not in any hurry. Fourth most doubles in the National League. Look at those three guys in front of him. Daniel Murphy again is just having a great year. Man, he can hit. All right, second and third, nobody out. A couple of ground balls to the right side might tie this game up, but Suarez has bigger plans, of course, than that. Ball one. Joe Madden will not waste any time getting his bullpen going. Dunsing, the left-hander, getting loose. That's a borderline strike there. 2-1 on Suarez. He singled to center field his first time up.
Butler only threw 64 pitches in his last outing. Now he pitched 5 innings of scoreless baseball. But he was out of the game quick and into the bullpen.
That's 2 in a row. Suarez not so sure about. You be the judge. These last couple of years, Madden has not been afraid. After the trio of Lackey, Arrieta, Lester, anybody else in that rotation until Hendricks emerged last year, he'd come get him early. And Suarez chases a ball in the dirt, and that's strike 3. Not a good at bat for Suarez. Second strikeout of the day for Butler. They will intentionally walk Shoveler. So he's already on his way to first. So they are loaded for Jose Peraza. Peraza, you may remember, put down the safety squeeze in the game yesterday. Rizzo right on the edge of the grass over at first base. Peraza 2 of 6 with the bases loaded so far this year. Can't do any better now.
No. Perfect execution. And I thought at his first at bat this afternoon, it was a good idea to bunt the ball and test out Chris Bryant, especially with that bad right ankle.
Well, if he were to do it now, Bryant's about 20 feet behind a third base bag. You talked last night. I mean, we saw Peraza last year when he was hitting .324 and driving the ball to all fields. It seems everything outside of an at bat here or there, everything is sort of served into right field and the right side.
Just not quite getting loaded up like we saw last year.
And I mean, that right there just got chewed up. 2 away in the inning.
You know, there are times in a season where you try to shorten your swing because you're not seeing the ball very well. And Peraza's had streaks where he swung the bat well, but right now he just looks like he's feeling for the ball rather than attacking the baseball.
All right, if the Reds are going to get more than one, it'll be up to Tucker Barnhart. They had the bases or second and third with nobody out and a run home. Butler able to strike out Suarez, and after an intentional walk, he buries a pitch in on the hands of Peraza for a pop-up. And here's Tucker, who flied out to right his first time up. Hit it hard. Well, that Contreras has been in the dirt seemingly every third or fourth pitch.
Well, not only in the dirt, but able to keep the ball in front.
It's not often you refer to a catcher as an athletic player, but you know, Benito Santiago, old teammate of yours, he was a very athletic defender behind the plate.
Quick feet.
Contreras looks to be the same way.
Yeah, I think Contreras played a little outfield, a little third base when he was first coming up. Was not really a catcher by trade, but with the arm that he's got, he's turned into a pretty good catcher. And blocking pitches, especially breaking balls in the dirt, takes a tremendous amount of work to be able to master that, because a breaking ball looks like it's going to your right, but actually when it hits the dirt, it comes back to your left because of the spin, and you've got to anticipate that as a catcher.
Bases loaded. Barnhart. A 1-1 count, and a fastball is low and away. Big at bat for Tucker and the Redlegs, down by 2. And now 3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, this is a point in time, and you see this seemingly every ball game. You get into crunch time. For a pitcher like Butler or a hitter like Barnhart, you try not to let it get mentally too big. Try not to make too much out of it. Even though your heart's beating fast, you want to come through for your team, but you're still trying to barrel up the ball if you're Barnhart, and you're trying to make a pitch on the edge if you're Butler.
He's just walked in a run.
Awfully patient at bat by Tucker Barnhart there. Fastball started middle away. You're thinking 3-1. He's got to go after it. Ball runs off the outside corner, and Barnhart just lets it go.
Well, you know, we could tell his first at bat that Stevens, we don't know what kind of hitter he is, but he looks like he thinks he's a good hitter. Got that open stance and comes diving into the plate. And you know he's going to get a pitch Cowboy to hit in this at bat. There's no doubt about that.
Half the battle of playing this game, maybe even more than half, is believing you can do it.
That's right. That's a story of life.
That's the way it is.
Do you believe you can do it? They are loaded for Jackson Stevens, 2 outs. And a bouncing ball into center field. Brings in 1. Here comes a second runner. Welcome to the major leagues, Jackson Stevens.
Well, you called that one. He did believe he
No, I didn't call
it. He got it done.
He just looked like a guy that thinks he can hit.
And he did.
How about the family? Check this out. Oh, yeah. Look at those smiles.
Woohoo! Can you believe that? Well, Eddie Butler can't.
Well, that's all for Butler. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Stevens, a 2-out, 2-run single to put his team in front. So Hamilton settles in against Dunsing, longtime Minnesota Twin. Reds have scored 4 times. 3 of the 4 after 2 were out in the inning. A bases loaded walk. And then the 2-out, 2-run single by the pitcher Stevens, and that one is down low.
For the most part, Brian Dunsing has been in the strike zone seemingly every time he's come out of the bullpen. And in this situation, if you're Joe Madden, you need him to throw strikes to Billy Hamilton.
Well, only 8 walks in 34 innings, 40 strikeouts. Straight up in the air. And this will end the inning. 9 come to bat, 4 score for the Reds. 2 of them on the first big league hit by that man, Jackson Stevens. He has a 1-run lead. Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. Here's a base hit by Stevens. And he talked before the game about trying to just stay loose out there, and this is his major league debut.
You get to see them on TV, but it ain't the same when you're out there on the hill. So I'll just kind of go with the flow. Like we have, a good idea what we want to do, and then, as the game goes, I kind of get a good feel what to do and what they can't hit, can hit. So it's just the same thing. You just go about your business and try to get them out.
He's exactly right. Now, saying it and doing it is obviously two different issues. But getting through that third inning, especially after giving up a couple of home runs there to the 4 batters, he was able to work out of it. He came back in the 4th and retired the side in order. But the thing that we've seen from Stevens from pitch 1, he has been in the strike zone.
But Cowboy, you made a good point about coming back out here. I mean, your adrenaline, if you thought it was flowing, to start the game, now all of a sudden you just get your first professional run batted in, a 2-run single to put your team in front. You got a 4-3 lead. Now you got to right back out there on the mound.
Well, you can't start looking forward. You have to take care of business right now. You get a hit like that, you start thinking that your parents are here, or you're thinking that, God, if I can get one more inning in, I've got a qualifier. You can't start thinking like that. You just get the batter out that steps to the plate and keep going.
Well, he takes care of the pitcher. That's a nice way to be able to start it. That is his 8th strikeout. His career high came in Pensacola last August the 12th when he struck out 10. That is his career professional high. John Jay, the batter. 328 at bats it had been since Jay last homered. That was in May of last year, playing for San Diego before he got hurt. Second hit of the afternoon for John Jay, a single into center field with 1 out here in the 5th.
Well, in this lineup, John Jay's job is not to hit home runs. It's just to get on base for the likes of the man standing at the plate, Chris Bryant, and the man on deck, and Anthony Rizzo.
One ball and 1 strike on Bryant. Slow breaking ball. Bryant today is 0 for 2. He flied out to the warning track down the right field line his first time up. And then hit a line drive at Billy Hamilton his next time up. He had the day off yesterday after injuring his ankle in D.C. 3 days ago. Straight up in the air and playable for Votto in foul ground. 2 out.
Pretty good pitch selection for the kid Stevens. This ball runs back in, but it was elevated after that slow breaking ball that we saw Bryant have to reach for. It's not where Barnhart wanted the ball, but ultimately it gets the job done.
All right, so now a big out here. Straight up in the air, center field, and Stevens will take care of the top of the order without a run scoring. He allows a hit. He has 5 innings in this is major league debut at a 1-run lead.
Park. Reds take on the Cubs. Reds live begins at 12:30, followed by first pitch at 1. Swinging this summer on Fox Sports. Fox Sports goes, presented by Click It or Ticket. All right, we're in the stands here, and the Jackson Stevens family is behind me, and we've got Dad Jay, Mom Tara, and Dad is keeping score, which I really dig. But what are your emotions? He's through 5 innings.
I know it. It's an honor to be here. I'm proud of him, but you know the job ain't done until they take you out. So you can't ever settle in and say, okay, he's through 5. We've got to go until they tell him to take out. So I pitch every pitch that he throws. So.
Well, spoken like a true baseball dad. Mom, what are the emotions? We've asked so many mothers. Growing up, there's so much to do to get him at this point. What are your emotions when you first saw him go on a major league field?
Well, I'm thankful that you weren't here early in the game because I was crying during the national anthem. But settle down. You know, it was a long road to get here. A lot of people got him here. A lot of them are here tonight or today. And it's just, you know, it takes a village. And, you know, he has a lot of support back home. We're very, very proud of him.
You guys are in from Alabama. How many are here today?
About 40, 45. Yes, yes. And several former coaches, basketball, baseball. Yeah, a lot of people are here.
So there's a proud bunch of people, not only here, but back in Alabama.
Yeah, yes, they are. We even got a restaurant that got MLB where they could show the game today. So it's a great day.
All right, we talked about him through 5 innings, but hey, we got to talk about the first big league hit. How about that?
Well, I think he was more nervous about hitting today than he was pitching. So for him to step up and get a big hit, Daddy expects it, but I don't think many other people do.
Well, you guys, I can tell by the look on your faces, this is just a dream come true, and we're glad you could let us soak in a little bit of it with you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Proud group down here, Tom and Cowboy.
Well, they should be. I mean, they should be, and it doesn't matter what the numbers look like. I mean, to have your son, your loved one, a pupil, if you're a teacher or a coach, to reach this level in their athletic career is just incredible. When the introductions went out, we had a camera on Mom, and there she is with the tears she described a moment ago.
It's a big day for your baby.
And it looks like from the shots in the dugout as Votto fights one off and dumps it into left field, a base hit.
Yeah, I believe he's done.
Yeah, it appears his day is over. He's carrying on with a couple of guys talking to him anyway down in that dugout, and that generally, signals that's it.
There were some handshakes and some hugs in the dugout. That doesn't normally happen unless you're coming out of the ball game. And Drew Storen got up immediately when he came out. But a big day for Jackson Stevens. But the key to this whole ball game for Stevens is he did not shy away. He was not intimidated. He threw his breaking ball for strikes, and he didn't worry about the anxiety or all of the nervousness that goes in. I thought he handled it rather well.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I did not expect him to strike out 8.
And I'll bet you if you were to ask him, he would tell you he did not expect to strike out 8. We mentioned his professional high is 10. His high this year in a minor league game was 7.
Well, when you're a kid and you come up, you just stay with the catcher. Barnhart was behind the plate. Tucker he's broken in quite a few youngsters here lately.
Oh boy. You look at the number of starts by rookie pitchers going back to the start of 2015. Now think about this. Joe Lucca dug this up, our statistician. The Reds, including Stevens' start today, since the beginning of 2015, so 2.5 years, the Reds have started a rookie 195 games. And look who's the fewest number of rookie starters. 5 of them. 190 less than the Reds have started since 2015. The others at the top of that list, by the way, and look, you've got the A's as second most. They're 60 behind the Reds. You have the Rockies and the Braves. None of those teams have been contenders over the last 2.5 years. So Colorado this year.
Cubs have only started a rookie 5 times.
5 times. 5 times in 2.5 years. And not only that, I mean, the Cubs are starting guys with 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years experience in the big leagues. The Reds had that kind of rotation prior to 15.
Right.
When they had, outside of Mike Leake, they had guys that had been around a little while. Homer Bailey and Johnny Cueto and Matt Latos.
Bronson Arroyo.
Yep. We've all gone on strikes, and that's a second out of the inning.
Well, I think the key right now for the Reds, as far as development and decision-making process, is identifying the young pitchers, not just from a standpoint of arm strength and what they have, but their ability on the inside, whether it's mentally or whether it's from handling the adrenaline, anxiety up here, that type of perspective. Who can actually handle standing out on the mound and being able to compete?
Sure.
And I can tell you this right now, you can't reach into a computer or a calculator to figure that out.
No, you cannot.
Suarez is having a tough time with balls and strikes. And right now, he's frustrated. He was frustrated yesterday. And when things aren't going your way, you get a bad call, and it seems like the end of the world.
Dunsing on a relief of Eddie Butler, who lasted 3 2/3 innings. Gave up all 4 runs in the Reds' 4th inning. Two and two the count on Suarez. Votto at first, 2 outs. And pulled foul. Two and two to count on Suarez. Again, he chokes way up and on bat. And takes down low. He was fooled. You may remember choking way up on that breaking ball with a runner at third and nobody out 1 inning ago.
Well, I think what Suarez and a lot of our young players are starting to understand, there are going to be days where you can't see the ball. There are going to be days where things seem like you can't miss the ball. But the one thing that you can't stop doing is competing.
All right, so Suarez will go to first.
And that's a great at bat. There are a lot of guys that would have had, young players I'm talking about, that would have had that pitch called for a strike early in their at bat, and they would have fallen apart. And maybe that would have happened last year, as we saw Suarez go through quite a bit of ups and downs, not only in the field but at the plate. But this year, you just put it past you. And now he's standing at first base.
We talked last night how well Schebler has done against left-handed pitching this year. And he will bat against a left-hander, Dunsing. And whoa, that was a little bit of a hanger right there now. That's one that Schebler 5 times against left-handers this season has hit one in its seats.
Schebler just has a phenomenal ability to keep the front shoulder in, even on the breaking ball that starts behind him from a left-hander. You see a lot of left-handed hitters bail out on that. Not Schebler. He grits his teeth, stays right in there. He'll shoot that ball the other way in a hurry.
Got him to pop up. Look out here now. Well, the left fielder taking charge there, John Jay. That'll end the inning. Reds strand 2. We've only played 5. And the Reds lead by a run. we're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Peanuts musical You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. A Peanuts ticket package for as low as $25. Get a Reds ticket and a limited edition Charlie Brown bobblehead. Go to Reds.com/themes to check it out. What a great idea.
I like when Lucy used to pull the football out of the way. And
Yeah, he didn't like it, though.
No, he didn't.
I mean, that was pretty cold-hearted of her. I suppose you did that to some guys around your neighborhood. Did you ever do that to anybody?
The thing for Charlie is he just kept on trying to kick it.
Yep.
Over and over and over again, and she kept pulling it out of the way.
Well, that's what the old definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. All right. Well, here's Drew Storen. He'll take the ball with a one-run Cincinnati lead here in the Chicago 6th inning.
Insanity or tenacity, one or the other, and they're a close 1-2.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Drew Storen has pitched awfully well for the Reds in whatever role they've asked him to pitch in. Now 35 ball games for the right-hander. His numbers are awfully good.
That is a fair ball up the third base line off the bat of Contreras. And he's in sliding with a double. First batter that Storen faces.
0-2 breaking ball, and Storen drops down and he leaves it middle away. And Contreras just hooks it down the line. But I will say this, the respect for Duvall is starting to carry around this league. Contreras, he was off to the races from the get-go, straight out of the batter's box. And the reason why, Adam Duvall's throw was right on the money, even as he slid into second base on what normally is a sure double.
Well, we've seen young Luis Castillo get to the big leagues and give you 5 innings and was in a position to, win a game, pitched into the 6th inning, his second start. But the bullpen in neither case was able to nail it down for him and give him his first major league win. He had outpitched Steven Strasburg. You may remember his first big league start in D.C. He outpitched, he pitched brilliantly against the Brewers here the other night, but the Brewers would come back and tie the game in the 8th inning against Tony Cingrani. Reds won that game. But when you're asking the bullpen to cover 4 innings, that's a tall order to try and nail down a win in a 1-run game. And that was the case in each of the first 2 starts for Castillo. He left with a 1-run lead and the bullpen couldn't hold it. Ian Happ with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. And now 1-2.
give up a leadoff double, your first thought as a pitcher is next guy, I've got to strike him out. That way a ground ball to the right side doesn't cost you with a runner at third.
Straight up in the air. Hamilton prepares himself for the throw. Contreras will stay put. Billy's got a very good arm, shows it off right there. 1 out.
Well, that's as good as a strikeout as long as the base runner does not advance. You can see Hamilton taking a couple of quick steps back, then coming towards his target at third base. Pretty good fundamental right there.
Now Addison Russell, a single to center field, will flare out there in the second inning off Stevens. Bounced out to third in the fourth inning.
Hitting.
Storen's done a lot of that this year.
And most of the time it has been on the breaking ball that's come out of the hand too early, and that's exactly what happened here. He has that little bit of pause at the top of the windup. You can see the spinning of the breaking ball. And it just came out of the hand too soon.
Storen's hit more batters than anybody else on the pitching staff, 7 of them in 32 innings. Feldman in almost 100 innings has hit 6. Storen, in fact, third most hit batsman in the entire league in those 30+ innings. 2 on for Javier Baez, 1 out. Strike 1. Down to third. There's one. They turn it over. Beautifully done. Around the horn to get out of the inning.
That is some kind of pretty.
Boy, did Suarez get rid of that thing, and right now.
Watch how quick he gets rid of that ball.
Up with Homes for Our Troops, building mortgage-free, specially adapted homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Learn more about how Homes for Our Troops is rebuilding lives and visit foxsportsupports.com. Moment number 2 of June happened here Wednesday night. Scott Schebler going back and robbing a 3-run home run. It could have been a different game against the Brewers had he not made this catch. It is the catch of the year so far for the Reds. So to unseat that as the top moment has to be very special. Might not be much of a mystery to what #1 is, but it's coming up.
Well, I tell you what, Jim Day, you are right there neck and neck with author Stephen King on leaving us scratching our heads, wondering what happened that was so special that could possibly beat that Scott Schebler play. I mean, you are a modern day Edgar Allan Poe. That's popped up to the right side. Pedro Strop, the first pitcher. Second pitcher, I beg your pardon, brought on out of the Chicago bullpen. This guy's been a good, solid pitcher for a long time. And again, you go back to the deal that was made. We've been talking about these Cub trades. They traded Scott Feldman to get Jake Arrieta and Pedro Strop in the same deal. Now that's a trade. This guy has been a mainstay in your bullpen ever since then. Setup guy, closer, setup guy again. And you get a guy who wins a Cy Young Award.
And I think at the time for Baltimore, they needed a starter that could just give them some innings because they were exasperated with Arrieta. There was just no dialogue going back and forth between manager, pitching coach, and player. And when that happens, you've got to pull the trigger. I don't think there was ever a doubt in Baltimore that Jake Arrieta had the arm to be successful up here. It just wasn't working.
Tucker Barnard had a very important at bat in this game, and I don't know how many people talk about it after the game or later tonight, but with 2 outs and the bases loaded, knowing the pitcher was on deck, it's easy for a lot of guys to get antsy and feel like I better be the guy to knock in this run. Reds were down 3-1 at the time. Well, he wound up drawing a bases loaded walk, and that was in front of the 2-run single, which gave the Reds his current lead by Jackson Stevens. Well, if they read it's a home run off that Toyota sign during our game today, Krista Vanzalo from Clarksville, Ohio, will win that Tundra. Register for your chance to win. Stop by your Cincinnati and/or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer.
I thought you did a real good job with that name, by the way.
Well, I don't know if it's right or wrong. Thank you.
Well, it sounded right.
Well, it's kind of like Stevens. You have to believe you can do it, right, Cowboy?
That's exactly right. And he did.
Devin Mesoraco bats for Storin, who works a scoreless inning. He allows a hit, hits a batter. No strikeouts, no walks, no runs. And the Reds have Tony Cingrani ready in the bullpen. Cingrani will take the ball when the Cubs come to bat in the 7th. Reds lead by a run. Honda game summary. Major League debut of Jackson Stevens here today. Scoreless game in the third. John Jay made it 1-0 after a one-out walk. Contreras made it 3-0, but they would be the only 3 runs Stevens would allow through his 5 innings here today. The Reds storm back with 4 in the 4th inning. Duvall a run scoring double. They got a bases loaded walk to Tucker Barnhart. And then Stevens, a bouncer into center field, his first professional career run batted in. He drives in 2. And that's where we stand. It is a 4-3 Cincinnati lead as the Cubs come to bat in the 7th inning, game 2 of this 3-game series on this July 1st, 2017. And the Reds are trying to make it back-to-back wins over the Cubs. If they're to do that, they'll need 4 innings from their bullpen. Now that number's down to 3, and it starts with number 52, Cingrani.
Cingrani's numbers have been good this year. The key is that 3-walk number. And that was the key for Jackson Stevens today. He didn't beat himself. He made the Cubs swing the bats.
In there, a strike. Cowboy mentioned that last start for Cingrani as this is a fly ball to right. It'll stay in the ballpark. That's out number 1. Let's check in downstairs with Jim Day.
Earlier in the season, when the Reds made those bowling shirts with nicknames on them, we told you that Tony Cingrani's nickname was Tony Toe Time because when he's out on the field shagging balls, most of the time he doesn't have shoes on. Warming up without shoes, sometimes barefoot, a lot of times just socks. So they call him Tony Toe Time. And there's your reason why.
All right, well, Tony Toe Time will now turn his attention to the pinch hitter. Candelario, another one of those Cub draft picks. We were talking about some of them earlier today as opposed to some players who came over in a trade. Fastball down and in. 32 at bats, 5 hits, including a home run this year for Candelario. He is a switch hitter. The last time out, again to repeat, Cingrani, who had been on such a great run since coming off the disabled list, was throwing the ball brilliantly the other night. This was a game we referred to earlier, started by Castillo. He struck out the first 2 batters, Thames and Braun, in the 8th inning. But then he allowed a game-tying home run to the left-handed batting Travis Shaw. So this is a bounce-back sort of game, Cowboy. He didn't lose it, but he did give up a home run that tied it.
Yeah, and when you come out of the bullpen, it may only be 1 run, but it's still a pride issue for you out of the bullpen. You're trying to keep the game at hand, keep your team into the lead, whether it's a 1-run lead or a 5-run lead. You know, if you give up 2 runs and you've got a 3-run lead still, you don't feel so bad. But when the game's tied, it rubs you a little bit.
Now he'll go to work on the left-handed batting John Jay. Reds have Lorenzen getting loose down in the bullpen. And he's getting loose for one guy, and that's the guy on deck. If Cingrani takes care of Jay, the Reds go back to the dugout. If Jay should reach, Lorenzen's coming. Although I don't know, it's tough to tell whether he's going to be loose enough to be ready at this point for Bryant. He can stall for a little time, and it shouldn't take him all that long, right, Cowboy?
I would suggest that you get John Jay out. Then you make it a lot easier on Brian Price because you got Anthony Rizzo right after Bryant.
One hopper, and Cingrani Well, I tell you, this guy's throwing the ball well, man. I mean, he's really pitching well.
Biggest stars MLB All-Star Game, July 11th, only on Fox. Top moment of June. It's the type of night where later on you'll ask, where were you? June 6th, 2017, when Scooter Gennett slugged his way into baseball immortality. 4 home runs in a single game, the only Red to ever do it, and he was spraying it all over the ballpark. 5 for 5 night, 10 RBIs. Scooter Gennett. No doubt your top moment of June. A night we'll never forget.
Oh, I think that's pretty safe to say there, Jim Day. That is a night we will never forget.
Yeah, he hit the grand slam early in the ball game, and you think, boy, he's had a heck of a game. Well, little did we know he was going to have 2 more home runs. Koji Uehara, former Boston closer.
Good numbers. 28 strikeouts, 26 innings.
That didn't even look pretty going after the foul ball for Chris Bryant.
Well, what a run it's been for Bryant. I mean, you just think about the last 4 years of this guy's life, right? He goes from being the college player of the year to the minor league player of the year to the National League rookie of the year to the National League's most valuable player. I mean, it's never been done before, obviously. I mean, that's just, if you tried to sell that script in Hollywood, nobody's buying it. But that's exactly what Bryant has done.
What a humble kid. And he is a kid.
I've said it many times before, and Cowboy, I know you played against this guy for a long, long time when I had the honor of announcing the Cubs games back in the early 1990s for 6 years. I never thought that there would be any other number 17 that Cub fans loved more than Mark Grace.
I agree.
I mean, during the decade of the 1990s, Grace led all National League players in hits. He led all Major League players in doubles. Enormously popular off the field. And yet, when all is said and done, if Bryant keeps going like he's going, it's Chris Bryant, number 17, they probably remember the most.
I agree.
Ball 4 to Hamilton. You'll take that.
Yeah, Grace hit right before Sammy Sosa. And for me, I would have much rather faced Sammy Sosa than Mark Grace. All day, every day.
And those were back in the days when, for whatever reason, Ryne Sandberg just wanted to hit second to batting order. I mean, you look at that team and you're thinking left-handed batter and Grace. You get a guy on in front of him, hook it to the right side. You know, Grace should bat in the 2-hole and Sandberg should hit third. Nope. Sandberg said he wanted to hit second, so he did. Grace hit third, and then Sammy. Of course, Sammy wasn't around when Grace had that incredible duel with another old buddy of yours, Will Clark, in the 1989 when you were pitching for the Giants. That league championship series when Grace and Clark were unconscious.
They were unconscious.
I mean, they were both just unbelievable to watch in that series.
That grand slam by Will Clark off of Greg Maddux. I thought we were all going to come unglued in our dugout. That just doesn't happen. Sent us to the World Series, though.
Yep. Hamilton picked off earlier in the game, you may remember. Now, it's interesting to note, Hamilton has 12 career stolen bases when Contreras is behind the plate. All right, that's a good number. But Contreras has thrown him out more than any other catcher during Billy's playing career. 6 times he has thrown out Hamilton.
Well, it goes back to the combination of release point or release time for a pitcher. You get the ball to Contreras 1-2, 1-3, really 1.3 seconds. You're going to get any base run with the kind of arm that Contreras has.
1 ball and 1 strike on Jeanette. Scooter Tardy, pitch up and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And that was not a fastball. Or if it was, it didn't do much. It just doesn't have much behind it anyway. At only 87 miles per hour.
It's just where the pitch was. It was up and away. And Jeanette's looking for a pitch that he can turn on. The hips started to open and he just ran out of momentum to get after the ball up and away.
Back up the middle into center field. A base hit. Hamilton will make the turn and easily get to third. So now the Reds have a little something cooking here.
That just shows you the speed of Billy Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Almora did everything that a center fielder is supposed to do on that ball. Charged it right off the bat. He got to the ball, gloves it, comes up ready to throw. There's no play at third. You know, this is the part of professional athletes that you just love to watch. I mean, he is just gliding. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of effort in that movement, but folks, he can flat turn it up.
Well, here comes Joe Madden out of the dugout. Trying to get Ewing-Hart to look him in the face. There's nobody else coming in this game. Ewing-Hart with that head staring straight down, the eyes looking straight down, and Madden trying to get up underneath the bill of that cap. Always worry when a guy doesn't look you in the eye. That was either a really good pep talk or there was some serious chewing going on right there. They're going to intentionally walk Votto. What do you think?
I don't know that I don't believe it was chewing. I think it was trying to make Uehara understand what he had in mind by walking Votto here. I think Madden already had that in his mind. So you go to the mound, you explain what the situation is going to be, and you try to reinforce the confidence for Uehara. Hey, we need you to get out of this thing. Get you a double play, get you a strikeout, whatever it is. But as you mentioned earlier, control the inning. Don't give up a huge inning here.
Adam Duvall, the batter, 1 for 3, a run-scoring double, and scored himself in the 4-run fourth. And there's a slow roller bobbled by Russell. They get 1, they get 2. A run does score, no RBI for Duvall, and the Reds' lead is now 2. Duvall is very upset, walking back to the Reds' dugout.
Well, if you're Joe Madden right now, and really if you're Koji Uehara, you trade a run for a double play in that situation. That had the potential to be just a blowout inning for the Reds.
All right, so here's Suarez, who has singled, struck out, and drawn a walk. Still a couple of more cracks at him the Cubs have. We are just in the 7th inning. Two and oh the count on Suarez. Suarez is due for a big knock. He's had a lot of them this year, but gone through a little bit of a tough stretch here lately. He's due to drive one in. Boy, and he had a pitch to hit right there. Those were pitches 2 weeks ago he didn't miss.
Well, those are pitches that he was driving into right center field. They've got Almora Jr. shaded that way.
Suarez has 19 runs batted in with 2 outs so far this year. That is a little less than half his RBI total.
And a very difficult month of June, but Suarez just keeps his head down and just keeps right on grinding.
See what he does on 3-1 here. Trying to hit that ball again into the third deck. His head came flying open and he missed it.
Now you see him climb up on that bat a bit. And that's something Suarez has done really from day one.
And he draws a walk. It's another good at bat by Suarez. Very similar to the at bat he had in the 5th inning. That is 3 walks in this inning.
Cubs will play Addison Russell right behind second base with Schebler at the plate.
And a bouncing ball. They'll throw to first. How about that play by Baez? Are you kidding me? Reds get a run. Part of the order coming up. Reds lead by 2. Be here as low as $12. That's the first series after the All-Star break. That's a weekend series. For tickets, log on to Reds.com. Reds bring a 5-3 lead to the top of the 8th inning after getting a single run off Uehara. Could have been a lot more than that. Veteran pitcher able to battle through it. Big double play ball. So the Cubs very much in it as Lorenzen gets a ball here in the 8th.
This is where the setup man becomes all important. You get the big guys, closer gets the next 3.
That's right. And make no mistake, these are the big guys. This is Bryant, Rizzo, and Contreras. Bryant playing on an injured ankle. No doubt it's been hurting him today. He's 0 for 3, though. He's hit the ball hard twice. There's a roller up the middle. Oh, boy. Jeanette didn't need to try and barehand that ball. Not sure he'd have gotten him out. Bryant runs well, but with a bum ankle, that's a play you normally make with a glove. Perhaps Jeanette thinking about the Chris Bryant who runs very well without a bum ankle.
Yeah, and I think normally with the Chris Bryant running in a normal scenario, that's not a bad decision. But with a bum ankle, you glove it and take your chances.
So the leadoff man aboard. And now Rizzo in a 2-run game. Rizzo in his career against Lorenzen has 3 hits and 10 at-bats. 2 of the hits, home runs. And he's come back-to-back off speed on Rizzo to start this at-bat to get ahead.
Well, normally for Lorenzen, he tries to get the fastball in, and the balls that have been hit out of the ballpark have been pitches that have run back over the middle inside part of the plate. And you see that lean back swing from Rizzo. He wants to tie it with one swing of the bat.
Yeah. No question about that one. But this is not going to do that. Popped up. That's a big out. 2 more to go.
That's a bit of pitching backwards for Michael Lorenzen. We don't often see him do that. But you slow the bat down with those off-speed curveballs inside. You slow down the eyes of Rizzo and the reaction time, and he just flat beat him on that last fastball.
All right, here's Contreras. He hit one a country mile back in that third inning to left center field. Way back. And that was his 10th home run of this season. He doubled up the left field line his last time up into 6th. Came with a 96-mile-per-hour heater there in the inside corner. 2-1 on Contreras.
You watch Lorenzen, he'll spike that index finger on the baseball as he sets up. The middle finger wraps around the seams and he's got it spiked. And there it is. And the reason that you spike the index finger is to really get the middle finger gripped onto the seams tighter so that when you come through with the curveball you get maximum revolutions. See that finger right there spiked right up on the seam.
And that takes care of Contreras. One more out to go for Lorenzen.
That is the curveball from Lorenzen rather than the slider. And you could really see Contreras out in front.
All right, so now it's Happ. Left-handed batter. Some might be saying, well, wait a minute now, why not Wandy Peralta? Happ is hitting 40 points higher against left-handers than he is against right-handers so far this year. He's hitting .297 against the lefties. He's batting in the 230s against the right-handers. But of course, I mean, look, that's all going to even out down the road. This guy's too good a hitter to be hitting .235 against right-handed pitchers. But the point being is he's a left-handed hitter that in short order has been able to show people he's not bothered by the southpaws on the mound. And now all of a sudden you go 3-0 on him.
His numbers are similar in the batting average respect to Scott Schebler's. His batting average is better against left-handers, much better, as a matter of fact, than right-handers.
Riano the count on Ian Happ. 2 outs, runner at first. Paints the outside corner at 98.
Every pitcher sets up with the most difficult pitch to grip. That's why Lorenzen sets up with that spiked grip to start with. Then he can move his fingers into position for the slider or for the fastball.
Now the go-ahead run comes to the plate. And it's a guy who's had uncanny success against Lorenzen in 12 career at-bats. Addison Russell has 6 hits, and it's not going to be Lorenzen. It's going to be Raisel Iglesias for a 4-out save attempt. All right, let's take a break in the action. Drama here in the 8th. if he needed to use his closer, whoever that might be, that closer would be asked to get more than just 3 outs. And today, that's what he's asking from Raisel Iglesias with 2 on and 2 out in the 8th inning. After Lorenzen walks Happ, it is Iglesias to face Addison Russell.
And that's not to say that you always want to have your hammer come in the 8th inning and pitch an inning and a third, or 2 innings for that matter. But when you're in this position, 2-run lead, you come in for 1 out, especially with the fact that the numbers were not really in the Reds' favor with Lorenzen facing Addison Russell. And now we're going to see Ben Zobrist, who just came off the disabled list today.
Well, looking at the Reds, they have the latter third in the batting order coming up. They have made a double switch, and Kimblehan will play right field. Answering the move made by Brian Price is Joe Madden. He'll send up Ben Zobrist, a switch hitter, just off the disabled list, to bat for Addison Russell. Zobrist is 1 for 8 in his career against Iglesias. Money at bat right here. Money at bat.
Oh, what a pick by Barnhart. Folks, this is 98 in the dirt. That normally is at the backstop. It's easier to block a breaking ball in the dirt because you're anticipating it. You would think as a catcher that your pitcher can throw you a fastball all the way to the plate.
Straight up in the air and foul ground, and 4 rows out of play. All right, so now Iglesias ahead of Zobrist at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Zobrist just activated before the game today. Two on, a 2-run Reds lead, 2 out, 1-2 pitch. Broken bat roller left side. Suarez in time, and the inning is over. Iglesias gets a final out, and the Reds bat in the bottom of the 8th inning with a 5-3 lead.
waving the towel. He's got it all ready for Reds Live. The post-game edition is presented by Performance Kings Honda, and we hope we cap a Reds victory today. So stick around after the game.
Alrighty, we will do that. Reds 5, Cubs 3. Cubs have made a couple of changes on defense. We'll just tell you about them. Baez moves over to short after they hit for Russell, and the man who hit for Russell, Zobra, stays in the game to play second base. And taking over on the mound, and whoa, what a force this young man's becoming. Carl Edwards Jr.
13 hits in 31 2/3 innings. Opponents are hitting 126 against him.
Yeah. That's 13 hits and 103 at bats against this guy. He really came on strong last year. 44 strikeouts. Peraza, Barnhart, Kiblahan. The trio due up here in the Reds' bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be the latter third in the Cub batting order if you're looking to the 9th inning already. And I know some of you are. That means Baez, Almora Jr., and a pinch hitter. Iglesias will be asked to get 4 outs to try and nail it down. You say nail it down, you're talking about nailing it down for young Jackson Stephens.
How about that?
He is still the pitcher of record in this game for the Reds. Storin worked an inning. Cingrani worked a perfect 7th. Lorenzen 2/3 of the 8th. And Iglesias, the final out, and still going. On swinging, Peraza. 0 for 4 today.
Pretty good hook for a guy that throws 97, 98. The bottom fell out of that pitch. And you could see Barnhart cheating for that fastball. You almost have to.
Well, jam shot flare. It'll fall in a base hit for Tucker. Piece of information to clean up from earlier when Stephens had that 2-run single, and right now that would still be considered the game or the go-ahead RBI base hit that gave the Reds a 4-3 lead. They tacked on a run since. He would be the first Reds pitcher, and is the first Reds pitcher with 2 runs batted in a major league debut since Paul Moskow. Who remembers that name? Many of us do. From June 21st, 1977. Kiblahan bats for the first time.
It's almost 40 years to the day.
It's hard to believe. 2-1 to Kiblahan. Runner at first, one out. Runner goes, and a foul ball out of play. Trying to push the envelope a little bit here. Starting Barnhart on a 2-1 pitch.
Well, you've got a guy on the mound that does not give up a whole lot of hits. Try to move the infielders around a little bit with movement from first base and Barnhart and see if you can get a ball in play. Take them out of their positioning.
Two and two the count on Kiblahan. Will they do it again? Nope. And a tapper. Edwards will throw to second in the dirt. What a play by Baez. Man, is this guy something to watch. Boy. He is some kind of athletic. Flashy, yes. Borderline arrogant, yes.
And he backs it up.
But he backs it up. Man, what a play this is.
Not only making a great catch. Check this out. It's in the dirt, but coming across the bag at the same time, and he almost turns the double play.
And it doesn't matter where they put this guy.
Second, third, short, outfield.
Man. You know, we heard all about Baez for years and years before they brought him up to the major leagues, but the guy they talked about more than him was Jorge Soler. Now, because of injuries or ineffectiveness, Soler, not yet anyway, has not become a bona fide everyday player. They traded him for Wade Davis during the offseason at Kansas City, and it's not worked out there so far. Still young. But Baez, we heard all about it. Man, when we first saw him, they brought him up the last couple of months. He was striking out at a rate that if you were to prorate it over the entire course of a season would have obliterated every major league strikeout record there's ever been in a single season. He was swinging from his heels on every swing. But these last 2 years, my oh my, has he gotten better and better and better in every facet of the game. Billy Hamilton, 1 ball and 1 strike to Billy. And now 1-2.
Going back to Baez, a lot of times when you take a shortstop, move him to second base, a second baseman, move him to third or shortstop, changing sides of the field really cuts down on your range and your reaction time with the ball off the bat. Not that guy. He's a human vacuum cleaner.
1-2 the count on Hamilton. Runner goes, and that'll be a stolen base for Kiblahan. Picked the right pitch to run on there, breaking ball in the dirt. Hamilton had a single leading off the game. He got picked off first. We talked about that at the time when he then reached on a walk to lead off the 7th inning. But he wound up going to third on a single, scored on a double play, and that made it the 2-run spread that we have right now in the bottom of the 8th.
Oh.
For a guy who's hard to hit, Hamilton must see the ball very well against Edwards, because he does not have a lot of at-bats like this where he's fouling ball after ball after ball off. Edwards got to be a little frustrated right now.
got to believe after that swing from Hamilton, when you pull a ball like that against a hard thrower, he's about to see a hook.
Ground ball down to third, and the inning is over. Here we go, boys and girls. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Ninth inning coming up. Reds lead by 2. Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places. Reds are trying to go back-to-back on the Cubbies. Back-to-back wins, that is. But they'll need the final 3 outs from Raisel Iglesias as the Cubs bat here in the last of the 9th inning. Top of the 9th inning. It'll be Baez followed by Almora Jr. and then a pinch hitter. Fastball in near a strike.
Well, it looks like Tommy La Stella has moved out into the on deck circle to hit in Almora Jr.'s spot.
Breaking ball, strike 2.
I don't know how you hit a 100-mile-an-hour heater from down there. I don't even know how you swing it.
Yeah. Bouncing ball down to Votto. It's not going to be an easy play here, and it is just in time. As soon as that ball took an extra bounce before Votto could get there. The way Baez can run, and you know he's always going to lay it on the line. It was going to be very close, and that it was, but the Reds get the out.
He hit it off the end of the bat. It took a high bound as it went to Votto. And like you said, he was hustling all the way out of the box trying to beat Iglesias to the bag. That was an awfully close play.
Iglesias trying to nail down what would be his 15th save of the year. He only has 1 blown save this season. Fastball to La Stella's low. La Stella bats for Almora. And fouled out of play. It's now 1 1 and 2 strikes. Starter at catcher last night, Victor Caratini, stands in the on-deck circle. Reds bullpen has been lights out here today. Somehow La Stella made contact.
That is an emergency swing if I've ever seen one. See Barnhart setting in. It's not that hard breaking slider in. It's the over the top hook. And he just did get a piece of that one.
Now the 1-2. And the same kind of pitch. And the same sort of result. Emergency swing with contact to hang in there.
You can see La Stella's body movement coming forward, trying to cheat on that good fastball from Iglesias. And that top hand just sweeps right over the top of that breaking ball.
You know, this is a guy I'd like to see what he would do if he had a chance to play every day. I think this guy could hit.
There's no doubt about his ability to hit. But he's behind Zobrist and Baez as
he's
far
got
as that
no
goes.
chance. Yeah, no chance.
And that shows you what kind of at bat La Stella is putting on. He sees 3 pitches in the 80s and then a 100-mile-an-hour fastball on his hands, and he's still able to fight it off and live for another pitch.
And then you come right back with that hard breaking ball down and in, and once more he's able to make contact.
But you can see Barnhart when he gives the sign for the breaking ball in. He wants that ball in the dirt. He doesn't want it to be up enough where La Stella can do what he just did. If you bounce it to the plate, you've got him in swing mode, he'll swing over the top of it. It's tough to hit it on a hop.
Came back with that fastball that just ate him up, and now the Cubs are down to their final out. It will be Caratini to bat with 2 outs in the 9th inning. Reds have had just incredible pitching the first 2 games of this series. You get Feldman, Lorenzen, Peralta combining on a 3-hit shutout last night. Stevens so impressive in his major league debut today, over 5 innings, 3 runs, and nary a run given up by the bullpen. Strike 1. Storen, 1 inning, 1 hit. Cingrani a perfect 7th inning. Lorenzen 2/3, no runs, and Iglesias trying to retire 4 in a row to give the Reds back-to-back wins in this weekend series. One and one on Caratini in the dirt. Two and one the count. And now 2-2. Well, now the Reds fans will have a chance to make some noise. You know, hey, let's face it, last 3 years when the Cubbies come into town, it's normally their fans this point in the ball game that are standing and cheering. But the Red fans of the Stevens family, their son is 1 strike and 1 out away from a major league debut in the books as a win. And this should do it. Jackson Stevens, a winner in his major league debut. And the Reds beat the Cubbies 2 in a row. Final today, 5-3 Cincinnati. Congratulations to the Stevens family. Got to go back to 2014, the last time the Reds won a series over the Cubs here at Great American Ballpark. How about that? It's good stuff. All right, Jim Day will take it away when we come back. Reds win. Reds win.